Great. So I think, sir, we can start. So I just
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just welcome everyone who's watching it currently. And the one request I just wanted to ask you, everyone, please share this FB Live to your timeline or tag your friends whom you think that they can get the benefit from this FB Live. And today, Ivan sir is going to talk about one of the very interesting topic, which is about us page. This is the second most visited page of your whole website. Okay. So now we are going to learn so many things with respect to about us page. And Ivan sir, now stage is yours.
Thank
You can
you.
have it.
I'll just give me a sec or two. I'll share my screen. We'll enter into
Sure,
the presentation I have. Hang on.
sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, just uh, indicate whether you can see my screen. Anamitra also will, echo it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm able to see on my mobile, so
Oh, great,
be
great.
able to see that. Yeah.
So I'm talking about the About Us page in website. I have found from past experience and working with various clients that the About Us page is a very neglected page. Let's enter into the topic and begin to. So if you ask website owners what are important website pages, these guys, most of them will come up with answers like this. Now let's quantify this word important. Okay, why do you call a specific website page important? It's important because the message that page carries in the form of copy content, images, videos, and podcasts, that message drives reader conversions. And when you drive reader conversions to double digits, you'll suddenly discover that you're boosting sales. When you boost sales, money comes into your bank account. And I think that's what all website owners are running internet-driven businesses for. So this is the quantification. This is why we call a website page important. Now, when you ask website owners, most of the time they'll reply their home page, their sales or landing page. Almost everybody, without exception, will talk about their sales or landing page as a very important page because to them, the sales or landing pages were driving conversions and boosting sales. Product pages, they could have a page that explains their product in great detail. If they've got multiple products, you'll have multiple product pages. Their contact us page, they label all of these as important pages. Website owners rarely try to understand how vital their About Us pages. Now let's again quantify the term vital. Why are we looking at About Us pages as vital? We're looking at About Us, the contents of the About Us page as vital because it helps drive reader conversions and it helps boost sales. Now, only when when a web page actually drives conversions, makes people leave their name and email ID with you, so that you can engage with them using a email sequence, e-sequence and stuff, or the content actually convinces them to take out their credit card and go and make a purchase, is the web page important? Now, far too few website owners try to understand how vital their web about us page is. Now, the way they push me back is do prospective reader bias. Now, I'm not using the term clients, customers, prospects. I'm not using any of that. I'm looking at a web page. So I'm using terms like reader buyers. If you see, buyers is plural, reader is singular. One reader reads the page and that reader can decide to do one of two things: leave their name and email ID with you and allow you to engage with them, and maybe they'll come back and buy later. Or they are so convinced with your content that they take out your credit card and buy. So I'm using this term reader buyers They ask me, do they really care about the About Us page? Let's look at this a little. There is a book called Lyconomics. It's written by a gentleman called Rohit Bhargava. You can pick this up on Amazon at a really, really, really low price. If you have a Kindle, it's very low. If you're looking at the hardcover or the print, it might be a little bit more expensive. I use a Kindle, so I get them at throwaway prices. Now, Rohit Bhargava explained a very unexpected truth behind earning trust, influencing behavior, and inspiring action. So he began to speak about how one should earn the trust of someone else, how you can influence their behavior and inspire them to take some action. Now, this is what the guy says. Site visitors, who are your reader buyers, they decide who to trust, who to buy from, who to listen to, based on one simple metric called believability. What this really translates into simple English would be is if your About Us page is unbelievable, it's not supporting your sales or landing page. It's not earning the trust of the reader. It's not helping influence their behavior. And it's definitely not inspiring them to take the action to buy. There's one simple metric called believability. So sales, which is your internet-driven business income, seems to be directly impacted by how trusted and liked you are. Did you know there is measurable ROI rooted in likability? And if you check the ROI, just because you're a likable, friendly, helpful human being, you'll be amazed at the degree, the quantum of ROI that's available in likability. How many more people will simply buy because they liked what they read in the About Us page? Now let's understand this. Your Facebook advertising or your Google pay-per-click advertising or whatever the heck you're doing, your digital marketing strategy will drive people to a landing page. And in your landing page, you talk about your product or service or whatever, in whichever way you want. Now, before people, 98%, before they decide to take out their credit card and buy, they are curious about who are we buying from. So the next most visited page is the About Us page. And in very, very many cases, the About Us page lets down brilliantly created landing or sales page. In other words, the content in the About Us page does not earn the trust of the reader, does not influence behavior in any way, help them become friendly, and definitely does not inspire them to take the action of buying. So understand, if you're a website owner, there is a great deal of ROI that's rooted in likability. So let's take a look at a process that website owners use to determine likability. Now, why I love processes is because if you understand the process, you can repeat it by following the steps in that process. So instead of talking about likability constructs in general, I'm going to look at it from a process perspective. Now, to understand the process that determines likability, think about what you do when you meet someone for the very first time. Have you ever registered how the conversation flows between you both? You will discuss your backgrounds, your academics, your school, which school did you come from, which college did you study at, where did you do your master's degree or your postgraduate. If you're an MBA, where did you do your MBA from? You'll discuss your favorite food. You'll talk about the different TV shows that you watch. You'll talk about places that you visited as you grew up. You visited Goa, you visited Uttarakhand, You visited the Northeast. You'll talk about places that your parents took you to when you were a kid growing up. You'll talk about the hobbies you have and more. Have you ever wondered why you do this when you meet someone for the very first time? I'll explain why. We are actually searching for a connection. We want to find out if the person that we are communicating with, we are engaging with, is one of our kind. This word our kind is a little tricky. You're trying to find out, hey, is this the type of guy that I really want to be friends with or not? Is he my type of person? Is this person trustworthy? Is this person credible? Is this person similar to the folk that we call friends? Mostly we are also trying to figure out whether we like them, which is why we are talking about our backgrounds, our food, television serials we watch, the places that we visited, hobbies. We're looking for commonality in our lives. Once we find that click, something that tells us this person is a lot like me, we instantly form a deeper connection with them. That is the time when you can influence people and drive their actions, drive their desire to take out their credit card. So the same sort of thing happens in your About Us page. Now let's take a look at that. I talk about that bit and I get this question thrown at me by people, which is quite natural really. What's any of this got to do with my About Us page? Now let's take a look at this. Your About Us page is you make first personal connection with your prospect. Now I use the word prospect here quite deliberately. Actually, I could have used the words read a bio and kept a connection with the earlier slide. But I very deliberately used the word prospect because a lot of website owners look at prospects as money is just going to come in. Now your About Us page is where you make your first personal contact. This is where your prospect or your reader buyer finds out to get them. Now what the heck do you mean by get them? Whether you understand their wants, needs and pain. If you're like them, they're looking for that connection with you. If you are trustworthy, the more likable, personal and believable you are, the more likely prospects will feel comfortable buying from you. That's how they become lifetime customers. Now let's look at what is happening in a very large number of pages. Make your About Us page all about the reader. The About Us page content shouldn't be about you at all. It should focus on your potential buyer. But 98% of internet-driven businesses use their About Us page to glorify themselves. They'll talk about their mission, how amazing they are, the breakthroughs they've achieved, the patents they hold, the local and international awards they've acquired. But what reader buyers are really looking for is, are the sellers trustworthy? Are they friendly people? Would I be comfortable buying from them? Does their help desk speak English fluently? There's a lot of friction because of help desk people. A lot of the help desk people, a lot of the help desk work is being subcontracted to Bangladesh, to India, to a lot of third world countries where the English accent sometimes can cause a disconnect between the person describing their problem and the person describing their solution. The two don't understand one another. If the two don't understand one another, that help desk is pathetic. So, the potential buyer is wondering, hey, does their help desk guys, are they basically Americans? Are they basically Brit? Are they basically Australians? Can they understand my accent? Can they speak English fluently? Where do their key players come from? The guys that design their software, did they come from the IITs, from the IIMs? Did they come from New York? Did they come from a small little village in Uttarakhand? So they're curious about all of this. And they're also curious about whether their competitor is any better. Now, if you look at what reader buyers or prospects are looking for and what About Us pages are delivering, you should be able to step back and see the huge disconnect between these two segments. This is the disconnect that I'm asking you to seriously consider changing. Now, here are 4 simple rules to create a brilliant About Us page. Make your About Us page all about the reader. That means you need to know what the reader's wants, needs, and pain is. Now, how do you know about the reader's wants, needs, and pain? Hey, you got to run webinars, you've got to go on one-on-one Skype calls with them, get onto the phone, talk to them, talk to people who didn't buy your product and service and ask why. Some will be rude to you, forget about them. Some will be polite to you and engage with you and they might even tell you why they didn't buy it. Talk to the people that actually bought your product and say, why did you buy the product? What do you think is the best feature in my product? This is how you get to know your reader. Now that needs to transliterate, to be transformed into sentences on your About Us page that address your reader's wants, needs, and pain. Now talk to your readers, don't talk at them. Now, when you describe on your About Us page the international awards you got, the ISO 9001 certification that you obtained, the patents that you hold, you are not talking to your readers. You're not sounding friendly. You're talking like a corporate. You're talking at them. You're telling them that, hey, you're a buyer. You're dumb. If you don't come and buy from me, look at the patents I have. Look at the international awards I've got. You are downright dumb if you go and buy it from my competitor. That is an example of talking down to your readers. If you're doing that, you're talking at them and you're not talking to your readers. When you write to your readers, you've got to use a conversational tone. You know, if you're sitting with a potential buyer in a cafe coffee day or any of these coffee places, and over a steaming cup of, let's say, coffee, you're describing your product or service to this person and getting them to, or trying to convince them to buy, the sentences that you use to talk to them will be very, very different than what you probably got in your About Us page. I seriously doubt you'll buy a cappuccino and sit down and say, hey, listen, I have 4 international patents. My CEO, my CFO, my managing director, and my owner all are internationally certified. I seriously doubt talk to someone like that over a cup of coffee. And if you talk like that to someone over a cup of coffee, I make you one promise, you're selling nothing. That person will walk away from that coffee shop and say, sort this, I'd rather buy it from his competitor, they're a lot more friendly. Now tell your story engagingly. Now, I write about Ivan Bayros. If you go to ivanbayros.com, that website's been on the internet for nearly about 35, 38 years. I write about myself. I actually highlight my failures. I talk about places where I failed and how I overcame the failures because that makes me human. There are no perfect people in this world. Everybody fails. And if you're good at what you do, you figure out how you failed or why you failed and you fix it and you succeed. That takes time. That takes energy. That allows you to feel vulnerable. It makes you, how can I tell others that I failed? I'm supposed to be a mentor. Hey, mentors fail. Which mentor didn't fail? Yeah? Mentors became mentors because they failed. So tell your story engagingly. Now, don't just say it, show it. Now, a very, very simple transliteration of the sentence is take nice pictures of yourself. Don't take corporate pictures of yourself. I mean, if necessary, put one corporate picture in, but show yourself in different situations where you look friendly and the sentences underneath are friendly. Images, when you put up pictures or you put up a short video, on your About Us page, talking about yourself, there's an instant connect that comes up between the reader, buyer, and the page. Now, if that influences them enough to say, hey, I like this guy's face. I really like the story he's telling me. Bugger it, let's go and buy the product. If you do that, you won. Now, like all other times, there is a freebie that I'm giving away. It's a 10-page freebie on how you can create a brilliant About Us page so that you appear human, you appear friendly to a reader buyer. It's for those who took the terrible trouble. You guys take a lot of trouble to come and join the Facebook Live. You put aside all you're doing. Maybe you're having a cup of tea. Maybe you're talking to friends. Maybe you're writing code. You put that aside and you come and you join it. And I think you should you should get this free. Now I've got one little question to ask people who are participating. The last line is in blue. Say it, show it. If you can figure out why it is in blue, type your answer into the comments, which bring me to the end of this little presentation. Now I'll exit this and I'll show you. I'll show you hang on. This is the how to create an About Us page that makes website owners human and friendly. I've given quite a bit of detail in it. And mind you, I'm open. If you're reading this content and you disagree with it, I'm more interested in talking to people or engaging with people that disagree, because that's where I learn something. But if you agree with it or you think that it's worth it and stuff like that, do write into me. The email addresses are at the bottom. Send a message to Anamitra, whatever, do write into me and tell me whether you liked it. I've explained all the 4 points. Make it about your reader, how you do it. How talk to your readers, don't talk at them. So this is the freebie that I'm giving away.